You think you've seen every twist the WWE has to offer, every betrayal, every scandal, every backstage drama dressed up as a storyline. But what if the real story, the one hiding in plain sight, makes the most infamous wrestling betrayals look like harmless soap opera fluff? What if the golden couple of wrestling royalty, Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, weren't the unshakable dynasty we all believed they were? What if their marriage, their partnership, and their legacy were all carefully staged illusions masking a devastating truth that's just now coming to light? The latest revelations are sending shockwaves across the wrestling world, revealing a deeply personal and emotionally brutal betrayal that leaves Triple H, the man known as The Game, looking more like a pawn in someone else's scheme. Sources close to WWE's upper echelon are now leaking disturbing details. Stephanie McMahon allegedly maintained a long-running emotional and possibly romantic entanglement with none other than Kurt Angle, a connection that insiders claim ran deeper than anyone in or out of the company could have imagined. But the real gut punch? Vince McMahon, the patriarch of this empire, Triple H's mentor, his father-in-law, the man who knighted him for greatness within WWE, reportedly knew about it all along and did absolutely nothing to stop it. In fact, he allegedly covered it up. This isn't just a tabloid rumor, this is a psychological implosion, a family betrayal so calculated and cruel it puts the Montreal Screwjob to shame. This wasn't just deception, it was strategic silence at the highest level of WWE leadership. Vince McMahon, the ultimate puppet master, played the long game with his son-in-law's heart and mind, keeping him in the dark while privately navigating his daughter's emotional entanglement with a rival. It's now being alleged that during Kurt Angle's prime WWE run, his off-screen relationship with Stephanie extended far beyond business. They shared intimate moments, held private conversations, and maintained a level of closeness that caused discomfort among those who were close enough to see it, but none dared speak up. Meanwhile, Triple H was busy building the future of WWE from the ground up, pouring his soul into NXT, shaping the company's next generation, and doing everything he could to prove his worth, not just as a performer, but as a leader, a husband, and a father. Now he's facing a truth more painful than any in-ring injury, that the family he thought stood behind him was secretly orchestrating a betrayal so profound it could permanently scar his psyche and shatter the very foundation of WWE's ruling structure. Imagine being Triple H, sitting across from Vince McMahon at corporate board meetings, raising your children with Stephanie, attending family functions, all while the two people you trusted most were hiding a ticking time bomb right beneath your feet. And each passing year, each storyline, each handshake was soaked in that unspoken lie. And now that bomb has detonated. Triple H, the cerebral assassin, finds himself emotionally ambushed. Insiders describe him as devastated, overwhelmed with rage and confusion, his identity as both a McMahon-in-law and WWE executive fractured. This isn't just a scandal, it's an emotional bloodbath. The betrayal hits on every level, personal, professional, psychological. This was never just about a love triangle, this was a systemic betrayal, hidden by the very institution Triple H helped build. Vince McMahon, a man who marketed family values while executing boardroom power plays, allegedly enabled the secret to protect WWE's image. But in doing so, he ripped apart the emotional bedrock of his company. And now fans are asking the hard questions. If Vince was willing to lie to his own son-in-law for years, what else has been swept under the rug? What other decisions, about talent, championships, contracts, or creative direction, were made to serve personal agendas rather than the company's best interests? Former WWE insiders are coming forward, confirming strange creative choices, awkward backstage energy, and storyline pivots that now make a lot more sense in light of these revelations. Some say Stephanie and Kurt were often seen having quiet, personal talks long after cameras stopped rolling. Others recall storylines that were inexplicably pulled or reshaped around the same time those two were involved in backstage planning. These aren't coincidences, they're now being viewed as cover-ups. And fans aren't having it. The online backlash is fierce. Some defenders argue that Stephanie's past feelings shouldn't be weaponized, but the outrage isn't about ancient crushes. It's about the deliberate concealment of those feelings by people in power. It's about trust. Triple H wasn't just betrayed by a partner, he was betrayed by a system he helped lead. And that betrayal calls into question the legitimacy of WWE's entire corporate leadership. Because if personal secrets can be hidden this long and this deeply, what else is lurking beneath the surface? This scandal is already affecting the morale of current WWE superstars, many of whom now fear they too are just pawns in a much larger, more personal power game. Talent trust in leadership is eroding fast, and if WWE doesn't address this crisis with transparency and decisive reform, they risk losing some of their brightest minds and most loyal performers to rival promotions. For Triple H, the road forward is unclear. How do you keep working alongside people who destroyed your personal trust? How do you co-lead a company when your very position was protected by a lie? Does this revelation jeopardize his future succession of WWE's throne? And what of Kurt Angle? His return to WWE was celebrated, but was it part of a larger reconciliation effort? Was he welcomed back not just for his legacy, but because of lingering unfinished business with Stephanie McMahon? As these questions swirl, Vince's legacy is being dissected like never before. He may be remembered as a pioneer of sports entertainment, but he will also now be remembered as the man who let personal deceit fester in the shadows of his empire. The ethical fallout is immense. This is no longer about one family's dysfunction, it's about a corporate culture built on manipulation. Shareholders may soon demand answers. Legal ramifications could arise if decisions were influenced by personal conflicts of interest. And the very foundation of WWE's governance may need an overhaul. The wrestling world is waiting for accountability. And the damage done is not just emotional, it's existential. The McMahon brand is cracked. The future of WWE's leadership is uncertain. And fans are more awake, more skeptical, and more outraged than ever before. This isn't a storyline. This is real. This is betrayal. And it may change the WWE forever. You think you've heard every scandal, every secret, every jaw-dropping twist behind WWE's glittering empire, but nothing, and I mean nothing, compares to the emotional destruction unraveling now behind the scenes of pro wrestling's most iconic power couple. The myth of Triple H and Stephanie McMahon, built on decades of kayfabe loyalty, boardroom dominance, and family legacy, is shattering under the weight of a betrayal so personal, so hauntingly intimate, that it threatens not only the future of their marriage but the very credibility of WWE's leadership. For years, fans and insiders believed they were witnessing a love story forged through passion, grit, and a shared vision of wrestling greatness. But that narrative has now exploded into dust. At the core, the new Shield.